So in some previous videos, we've seen that methods that take parameters in can either permanently change or not permanently change the value of the parameter depending on what type of parameter it was. We saw with the primitive types that there was no permanent change. So this leads a lot of students to ask the question, if you want to write a method that you do want to make a permanent change to the variable, then how do you do it? So in this video, we're just going to show you how to handle that situation, and this is pretty easy. You'll see here my little sample says money's 100, word A, B, C to H. I've made this class changer, which we'll show you in a second, which has a couple of methods. And the two I'm going to test now are double me, money, and add Z, giving it word. Now, when I go double me and add Z, double me takes an integer parameter in. Now, right off the bat, what should pop in your head is it's a primitive type. Whatever I do to it in here will not permanently change it. So it doesn't matter if I'm timesing by 2 or timesing by 2 million. When this method is done, this copy of my parameter is tossed away and all is done. Same thing with this add Z method. Whatever string I give it, this is a copy of the string. So I'm adding Z to a totally different variable called S here, and when the method's done, that variable called S is chucked away. So if I just give this big long class name a run here, you're going to see that my 100 and A to H aren't permanently changed. So those two system outs are the system outs from right there. Now what happens if I did want to double the money? Well, there has to be a way to do this, right? I can't be limited to just working inside a void main. I want to use methods to help my programs be efficient. So here's what you do. You don't use those methods. You write methods that look like this instead. So when you intend to actually make a change to a primitive or a string, do something like this. Instead of writing a method double me, I wrote this method called double it. Now notice what I've done here. I've given this method a return value. So I still take in a primitive type, the integer. I double that variable copy, and then I return that x that I just doubled. Now, so if I pass in the 100, it's going to make it 200, and then I go return 200. Now what I do to use this in my code over here is I just used a method like this. Money, set yourself equal to C dot double it money. And that's the way you do it. So money is resetting itself in the program to a new value. What value? The value returned by this method double it. Okay, because the method can't actually change the variable since it's a primitive type. Same token, I'm going to do the same thing for the word. I've made a method there called add ZZZ word. And if we peek at that method, you'll see it's the exact same idea. Instead of just trying to change the copy parameter, all I do here is I change the copy and I return the value of that copy as a string. By returning it, that's how I get the full use here. Word, set yourself equal to whatever was returned by that method. And you'll see when I run this now, 200, and I've added the Z's. So my variables have been changed. So that's the solution to a lot of people that say, how do I make a method change it? Technically, the method is not changing the primitive or the string, but it's sort of having that effect that students ask about that they want to do, is how do I get a method to help me change the value of one of my variables in a different class? And that's it. Hopefully you can make some use of that. And that's it for this video.